Business Spotlight, brought to you by Cross Rhythms and Baba Baboon.
I'm Sonia Farrell. This is Business Spotlight in partnership with Cross Rhythm City Radio and Baba Baboon. Joining me in the studio this week, we've got the one and only Danny Flynn and Nicky Twemlow from YMCA North Staffordshire. Danny, Nicky, hello.
Hello, Sonia.
Hi, Sonia.
How
All
are
right,
you?
Duck?
I'm good. How are you?
Best name company in the world, isn't it, Baba Baboon?
I'm glad you can
That's
say
great.
it, Danny.
I can say it.
I can't say it. Baba Baboon.
Baba Baboon. Fantastic.
Babatastic, that's what we like to hear.
Fantastic. Got a whole new vocabulary. Brilliant.
But Danny, Nicky, thank you so much for coming in here into the studio at Cross Rhythms for Business Spotlight. Before we go anywhere, Danny, because there might still be people out there across North Staffordshire who don't know fully what the YMCA does in this area. So can you give us just a brief as you can, an overview, please?
Yeah. Oh, my goodness, I nearly fell off my seat.
Don't worry about it.
I'm so excited. We've just done our first proper impact report, like grown up, chief executive, proper stuff. So that's on our website and that's on our social media feeds that will be linked to this as well. So we'll post that on there. I think we might have already posted it. And just have a look. You know, we do everything. We don't do everything. We do housing, we do sports, we do family work. We do community development stuff, and we want to open up the campus as a place to come to. So one of the amazing things that we did was that I said in a previous business plan that will be owned by the people of Stoke-on-Trent, that it's their YMCA. And last year we were able to track, we had 100,000 people through the door.
Wow. Which
we're really pleased about. And then everybody says about the YMCA, they have this assumption, because the YMCA has been around so long, it's actually been around in Stoke-on-Trent for nearly 140 odd years, but in its current form it's been around since 1976. So people have got long memories, haven't they? It's where they got married or where they had community events in a long time ago. And we still are called by most people Up Handley YMCA Duck, aren't we? Which is fine. But our focus is looking at raising the next generation of strong young people, children and young people. It's as simple as that. And how do we help young people thrive? And very much in the same way that I want my kids to thrive, you want your kids to thrive. All parents want the children to thrive, don't they? So that's what we try and do. So we also use the term contribute. So how do we help people not be, the perception when I got there was a bit homeless and a bit grotty? People are not just recipients of services, people want to contribute. So load of volunteering for young people, going to amazing places, Srebrenica, going to... they've adopted a Roma camp in Romania and looking after Roma kids and go out once, twice a year. And that's the young people's choice. So trying to empower young people to be the best they can be. And there's no difference between rich and poor other than life chances. So part of this, I guess the first request, this is a good segue to Nicky, is can we create as many life chances as possible to create an equal society? It's as simple as that. So working with the business community, get a job, as people my age might remember Yoza. Give young people a chance, give them some support, and Nicky will talk a bit more about that. And young people are no different than any other young person. And what seems to happen is life comes along and it might be a bit tougher. Family might be not as strong as we'd like it to be. Stuff happens, doesn't it? And, Stoke's got 40% of its kids being brought up in poverty. So you've got all of those issues around Stoke that impact on the kids' lives. But we've just got to remain hopeful. I mean, that's as a part of our faith as an organisation, that there's hope, that people are created in a absolutely brilliant, fantastic way and can change the world. You just got to give them a chance, give them a start. So I see my job at 59 actually, I'm getting older, as simply being, they call me granddad now, which is really bad when I'm not really a granddad. Well, I'm not a granddad, my kids are useless, they don't give me any grandchildren. She's having one next door here. She's very lucky, isn't she?
Not me. My children.
My children.
One of my child. Yes.
But that's what we try and do at the YMCA. We try and be a family. We try and welcome people into our fellowship. Community meals, doing international work, being an international organisation, loving diversity and inclusion, and getting all the amount of blessings I've had from loads of different people coming. We've helped immigrant communities, for instance, birth about 7 churches across Stoke-on-Trent. And I feel very pleased and proud we're able, and that's just people gathering, using spaces, coming in. And that's reflected in what we do every day, because YMCA eats a lot of food.
Yeah.
So the kind of diversity of its menus and people doing community meals and coming in, fantastic. And all of those are life chances.
Yes. Yeah, life chances. And from what Danny's saying there as well, Nicky, you know, talking about empowerment, but also opportunities. And somebody, yes, you might not have had the best start sometimes, or less fortunate than somebody else. That doesn't matter. I'm all for that. It doesn't matter at all. And as long as somebody will listen to you and give you an opportunity, I think that's an amazing thing. I really do, because you never know when you might need that. And part of the work that I believe that you do down there at the YMCA as well is also helping young people to be work ready. Now, what does that mean to be work ready, and what kind of skills do you help with that?
Absolutely. And I think it takes a village to raise a child, doesn't it? So we need lots of people, you know, that support young people in that journey. And I think we often see young people where perhaps school hasn't worked out for them, where, like Danny alluded to, they don't have the right kind of support networks in place. So what we do is just try and address some of those challenges that that those young people may face, and how do we work with them? And that's often about confidence building. You know, if you've left school and you haven't got any qualifications, you can feel that it's you that's a failure, and when you have no confidence, that can stop you doing a lot of things. So the first thing we do is absolutely build young people's confidence, and I think it was 2020 we won a Queen's Award for promoting social mobility. So how do we take young people that have perhaps left school, you know, with no qualifications, don't have those support networks in place, but get them into university, get them into work? So I think it's about confidence building. I think it's about kind of getting them some of those qualifications, you know, that are more perhaps practical. So we do things like first aid with them, you know, or basic food hygiene if they're interested in catering. So those very practical things that also has that kind of skills development as well. And then I think absolutely where we really need support is about giving young people those opportunities to try things out. I know myself as a parent, if my daughter said to me, Mum, I really wanted to have a go at this, I know that I could pick up the phone and somebody would give her that experience. A lot of these young people don't have those connections. So a great example last week actually was a young person who volunteers with us. He really wants to do law, but has never had any experience. Okay. So rung a few friends who we know, and he's got a work experience now just for a day at a law firm in Hanley. But just to see what does that look like for him, you know, what are those connections he can make at the start of the journey.
So when you're talking there, Nicky, when you say friends, I'm guessing you're talking about the local business community here in North Staffs. Now, you mentioned law there. What other businesses or other firms are you know, that you've already got those connections with, where opportunities are being given?
So like Cottage Delight, we've built a brilliant relationship with them over the past year. They've been fantastic. And what they do is they offer like kind of work-based learning days. So sometimes, again, looking at confidence building. So we take like 2 or 3 young people up, and they'd look at the marketing, the packaging, the IT, the finance, and they just get a taste of what they're doing. And then once they kind of know who's there, they're more likely to go there on their own then, because it can be really daunting, especially if you don't feel you've got much to give. So Cottage Delight have been absolutely brilliant in offering those experiences to young people, but they've absolutely gone above and beyond. So they provide food for our pantry now. We've got a hampers campaign where we give 500 hampers to families that need a little bit of love at Christmas, and Cottage Delight now drop off, you know, like lemon curd preserves and some crackers and just little treats, and they go in the hamper. So I think the support from business can just be huge actually. Another one, Hanley Economic, every year for the past few years of through their kind of charity account scheme, fund the young people to have a little Christmas party. And then what we do is work with perhaps Keele or Staffs University. So again, how do we break down barriers for young people? Well, actually, young people going to Keele or going to Staffs to have their Christmas party start to see the university very, very differently from how they've seen it before. So it's this absolute partnership approach. And I always do say friends, because it does feel like you're working with friends. It absolutely does. But I think for us as a YMCA is having those connections around the city, so that we're that social capital for that young person. If that young person said, I want to go at kind of graphic design, or I want to go at this, who are the people that Danny and myself know that we can pick up the phone and say, got a young person you know, they've done this, they're really ready for that kind of work-based learning. Because there's nothing worse, is there, than somebody saying to you, do a CV and you've got nothing right on your CV. Especially if you've got no qualifications, especially if you've had no work-based experience. It's absolutely soul-destroying. So we just try and give those young people those opportunities. So when they're ready, they've got stuff in the bag to kind of bring out.
I remember a bloke. I was 18, I'd been made redundant twice, I left school, I was apprentice mechanic, you know, and I'd also go back a bit further. When I was a kid, my old man dropped dead when I was 12, and I was one of them kids that was a bit truanty and a bit naughty and a bit, you know, what am I going to do, and blew the O-levels. And I always say to young people at the YMCA, if you met me when I was 14, you wouldn't think I'm this great Danny Flynn, you know, chief exec, people think I'm successful. When I was 14, 15, 16, 17, I won it. But I went to a careers office, and the bloke basically said, why don't you invest in yourself, son? So I won't tell you the whole story because we ain't got time, but that's what happened. And then I went to get some A-levels and, you know, went down a path, went to London to work in a day centre for homeless guys, and then got into this work and blah, blah, blah. But I suppose my call to people in business is, you could be that privileged position of, I don't know the bloke's name. I wish I'd remember his name and I'd write to him and say thank you. You know, like when Ian Wright was on the telly and he spoke to his teacher about who was the bloke who turned his life around. Well, I went into that as a kid who'd just been made redundant twice, looking at a youth opportunity scheme for £23 a week. And this bloke said something that spotted something in me. He said, you're quite bright, son, why don't you invest in yourself? And they're the kind of people we're looking for young people. People put fancy words like mentoring scheme. We'd cut it down, just relationship. Are there people out there who want to stand in the gap for young people, who can help them into a new life? And are those people, I suppose, willing to do the valley and the mountain? So it's great when everything's going great, isn't it? But actually, as young people, you blow it, don't you? You trip up, you make mistakes, and that's where God's grace is, isn't it, really? That kind of oops. And that's what we're looking for, businesses and individuals who are willing to come and get to know us a little bit. We can get to know them a little bit. And in that opportunity, there could be people who click and fit.
We are hosting a round table with the Chamber of Commerce coming up as well, because we also identify that, you know, sometimes we can support young people into work, but it's staying in work as well. You know, if you don't have your mum and dad that you can go back to at the end of the day and talk about what's happened, or, you know, we've had a case before where a young person's missed the buzz in the morning to work and then just doesn't know what to do and just doesn't go in. So, you know, we're hosting a round table with the Chamber around businesses that are perhaps warm. I think Danny suggested, you know, it's not just being in the mountain, it's being in the valley, supporting those young people with that transition into work as well. We had a young lad not long ago. We all know public transport can be a challenge in this city, but it was taking him 4 hours to get in work and back out of work. You know, 17-year-old lad, really wanted work. But that's hard for anybody, you know, setting off at 7 in the morning, getting in at, 7 in the evening. But then working with his new employers, getting him a bike, actually, between, you know, the coaches that are supporting him through the YES scheme that we're doing, an employability scheme, and the business, is breaking down those barriers that are facing young people. So if they do get into work and they're having a little wobble with that, and they don't have, you know, especially people like care leavers, what's that wraparound support that we can potentially work with businesses and as a charitable sector support those young people into that as well? So
we're looking for the relationship to come to us, and together, you know, I can't create millions of jobs. We do, and one of the proudest things I've got is loads of the staff are ex-customers who used to live with us. Loads. Because we do that. We accommodate people. So we can build that. We're just going to open 46 new units of accommodation with a total focus on young people's employed young people. Can we provide accommodation? Because when you boil it down, young people want some accommodation that they can afford, a job that allows them that accommodation, and some friends who are good to them. That's it. Cut all the clever people out, and your psychiatrists and this, that and the other, and your counsellors or whoever. And actually, if you can get a young person a job that helps them to afford the life that they've got and build positive relationships, you've done the job. People fly.
And those relationships, like we've mentioned, you know, our businesses as well can work with you. From even what you're saying there, Danny, you know, the YMCA North Staffordshire, you employ young people who you've supported, almost just like a business can do in the area as well. But also other ways businesses work with you. You do your community meal once a month. But also, I want to know more about this before we have to finish. I really want to know about this new youth hub and what it's about, how again a businesses sort of can be involved, what will it mean to the young people, and what value will it bring to the area?
So we're really, really pleased that we've secured just over 2 million to build a brand new youth hub on our youth campus. And again, young people have lost a lot of facilities over this city over the last kind of 14 years, and young people don't have those spaces where they can access high quality activities. So we submitted a bid to DCMS around this funding, and we were absolutely delighted that we scored the highest nationally on our youth engagement, because we really sat with young people and what does this look like for you and what do you want from this. So new youth hub open kind of spring next year is going to have a digital suite, a recording studio, art studio, a kitchen, a safe space. And the idea is that young people can access that space and kind of develop skills. And what we're really, really interested in from a business point of view is, can we use that space to create those pathways as well? So, you know, we do a lot of work, say, with someone like Feasted. Yeah. So actually, can we do some catering work with young people on site, develop their confidence, and then what does that pathway look like? If we're looking at kind of a digital skills gap, you know, and again, these may be young people that didn't get the qualifications at school, you know, the academic route isn't an option for those for a variety of reasons. We can do skills development about digital skills and things like that as well. So what we're kind of saying to business is, you know, what are your skills gaps actually, and how can we use our space to kind of develop those skills in young people. And I suppose, and what kind of we would say to businesses as well, if you want to come and hang out with us, if you're really interested in coming and spending some time with us and seeing what you're doing, come on site. And you know, hand on heart, I can say everyone that comes to the YMCA kind of does love meeting the young people, and it isn't just about what you kind of give, it's what you get from it, is spending those time volunteering. And we've got a chap at the moment, Dean. He runs his own business, but came on site, got chatting to the young people, and they want to do a gardening project. So Dean just gives a couple of hours his time every week now and just comes in. And again, young people are having access to different people, developing different connections. So I think for the youth building is absolutely, how do we work with business to identify any skills shortages, and we can offer programs for young people there. Okay. Also, if businesses want to give time, you know, I know some businesses have CSRs and, you know, want to do a bit more volunteering, come and chat with us. There's also always the ask from a charitable point of view as around financial investment.
No, you can't come and paint rooms because you're not painters.
But if you want to, you know, if you want to buy like cooking packs for the young people, if you want to sponsor anything that's going on there, but if you're interested in investing your time, your talent or treasure in young people for the future, just give us a call. And you know, we want to make more friends because we think together we can make the city much better for everyone.
We can, and we do. We do.
And just going back to the youth hub then, so spring 2025, that's expected to be open. And again, it sounds like there's even more different skills opportunities there for more creatives as well.
Absolutely.
Exactly,
so it's really interesting. I think creativity's in our blood in Stoke, and so when we did the co-design process with the young people, they were like absolutely wanted an art studio. So you know, kind of clay, and again, we work very closely with BCB and different people. So this isn't just about the YMCA being quite, you know, insular. This is absolutely about bringing communities together to access a space that's got facilities.
Telling your story about the Syrian kids playing, that always makes me cry.
So we run a refugee program on a Thursday called Sanctus, and people come in and, you know, get access to food, get just a little bit of support what they need. And a couple of Christmases ago, we invited BCB to come and do some clay workshops, and we had 2 young children that, you know, listening to the story of how far they travelled to get to safety and the trauma those children had absolutely experienced. And BCB came, the staff were brilliant, and we're just kind of clay. And these two children just sat, it must have been for 3 hours, you know, about 5 and 4, just playing with this clay and didn't do anything else and make me cry.
Yeah.
And the kind of dad just said to us, you know, it's the first time he's seen the children smile since they'd left their country of origin. And you're just like, that again, that power of community. But we couldn't have done that without BCB, and BCB, you know, is people coming together and sharing spaces and connecting, because we are better together, aren't we?
And I guess, yeah. And when
I did cry.
Yeah,
I would. Making me cry.
Cry. Compassion's empathy is really important, and that's what the YMCA is about, really. You know, creating space for others' humanity, and then helping them be the best that they can be. You know, and that birthing a YMCA 180 years. It's our birthday next year. Well, it could be this year, but yeah, we might ought to have a party. And all of that is that body, mind and spirit stuff. You know, that we believe in the best of humanity. We're optimistic. We are hopeful. We are future forecasting for young people, because that's what we're called to do. And that's our view of humanity, that it's brilliant, it's special, it's unique, it's gifted, it's talented. It isn't trouble, it isn't difficult, it isn't, you know, and that, what's his name, that Chris Canandra, you know, do you see trouble or treasure?
Yeah.
We see treasure.
Definitely. Danny, Nicky, sorry, we're going to have to finish there. It's been an absolute joy and an honour, obviously, to have you here on Business Spotlight.
Thank you.
And no doubt you will probably come back again very soon, because there's lots more to talk about.
Anytime, yeah.
Definitely about the new youth hub as well, once all that's
Absolutely.
finished. But thank you again for coming in here on Business
Well, I'm
Spotlight.
going to nail Chris down in a minute for when we open the youth hub with the recording studio, but he can come and mentor him, can't he?
There you
Chris, arm up your back.
Thank you.
Danny Flynn and Nicky Twemlow from the YMCA North Staffordshire here on Business Spotlight with me, Sonia Farrell.
Business Spotlight, shining a light on our local business community. Brought to you by Cross Rhythms and Baba Baboon.